Hey guys, this is a series on my channel called Foundation Mutation. Basically what it is that I take two foundations out of my collection, I mix them together, I do a full day wear test, and I tell you whether they look better together than they do separately. Basically, this is something I do behind the scenes all the time. I have a very hard skin tone to match with, I'm very specific about my finish on foundations, and I have so many of them that I love, I thought, why don't I mix these together to see if I can get one foundation out of the two of these that makes it even better than them separately, get the best qualities from both, and add it up to a perfect foundation. This is something I do all the time, and I thought, why am I not filming this? Especially with my new lighting setup, you can really see all the foundation on my face and how it wears. So for those of you that have a really hard time matching your shade, matching your finish, and don't want to spend money on like 200 different foundations every month, this will be like, maybe I can mix two of them I already have, make an even better foundation. So today on my channel, we're going to be mixing the Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation with the Covergirl Clean Matte BB Cream. These are two foundations that I really like on their own, and so together I'm hoping they're gonna have complementary qualities and work together in exactly the way that I want to make a perfect foundation. My skin is extremely fair. I am an NC10 or an NW10 in MAC foundations, which is one of the lightest shades available commercially. So every single foundation that I have is in the lightest shade. So if I forget to mention it, it is the lightest shade available. The Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation that I have is in the shade Porcelain, and the first few ingredients in this let me know that it is a dimethicone water-based foundation. It is very runny, it is very watery, but also somehow weirdly drying. This can emphasize my texture, but is really, really blurring on camera. So it's not really long wearing. After about 5-6 hours, my oil really starts peeking through and it doesn't bake very well. So what I'm hoping is to get the nice shade and the blurring effect out of this and mix it in with the BB cream to get those two qualities out of it. The Covergirl Clean Matte BB Cream that I have is in the shade Light, and the first few ingredients in this let me know that it is also a water and dimethicone based foundation, meaning that it's very runny. It separates very, very easily, and you have to shake the tube before you pour it out because the oil and the water will separate into this like gunky mess. So you have to shake this up. It is a requirement for this foundation. This on its own is a honestly pretty full coverage foundation. I'm pretty pleased with it. It really controls my oil all day long, but the problem is that the shade Light is extremely dark. I would actually call it more light medium to medium than light. And on top of that, it oxidizes so badly. So I have to mix in so much lightener for this to even work, and then it oxidizes about 3 to 4 shades. So what I'm hoping is that when these two get mixed together, it's gonna have this nice little baby where I'll get the blurring effect from this and maybe take down the coverage a bit, but make it look more natural like this and kind of have the oil control. So I'm hoping to get a medium to high coverage, even medium I'd be satisfied with, if I can get a nice natural finish that's oil controlling, but also be blurring on camera and look good in real life, and maybe this can kind of undercut the oxidization that happens. Being that the ingredients in these are very similar, I'm hoping they mix well together. I'm not sure because the consistencies of these feel very different and swatch very different, so we're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna start swatches of both these foundations here before I add lightener to them. I'm going to have to add lightener to these because I'm not gonna be walking around with a foundation 20 shades too dark from here on my face all day, and I am so insanely pale that I have to add lightener. But the lightener that I use is the NYX Pro Foundation lightener in white, and that does not change the formula of foundations at all. So that's not going to affect the end result of these foundations. Here are the swatch of the foundations on my arm. This is the Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation, and this is the Clean Matte BB Cream from Covergirl. As you can see, this being the lightest shade is extremely dark for foundations, not just on my skin, but in general. This is the lightest shade of the Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation in Porcelain. This one has more honey undertones, and this one has more neutral to pink undertones. So I think the two are going to match really well together to match my very cool pink toned skin. I'm really disappointed in Covergirl. I don't understand their shade ranges. They have the weirdest, most mid-tone shades, and Wet n Wild was able to really get a good shade range going. So I'm hopeful that these two mixed together with my lightener is really going to balance out that honey undertone and make it more pink. Now that we got that all wrapped up, let's go into our experiment. So first I'm going to take one little spatula scoop of the Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation and slap that right on my Scott Barnes palette. This is just a guesstimate for a pump, because of the little spatula, you can't really get an accurate measurement, but this is gonna have to be the best I can do because I gotta eyeball it. Next, I'm gonna take the Clean Matte BB Cream from Covergirl, shake it up really good because this stuff separates so easily, and I'm gonna squeeze about, again, a pump right on top. Next, I'm gonna take my NYX Pro Foundation Mixer in white to pale up my foundation and squirt that right on top in a generous amount. And here's a nice little concoction we got. As you can see, it is very watery. It is sliding down the palette because I have it at a slight angle. This is super, super watery. And then I'm just gonna take my finger and mix this all up together into a perfect little foundation cocktail. And this is what we got to work with the foundation. Very watery, very runny. And let's move on to application. So, application. I've already primed my face using the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer and the Smashbox Primer Water. First thing I'm going to do is take my Sigma F82, dip that right into my palette here, and start stippling it into my face to create a nice base. Right off the bat, it's not offering great coverage with a brush. It seems like it's already clinging to some of my texture, which I don't have a ton of, and looks really dry. I'm also using up a ton of product here. Like, I'm already dipped into at least half of this with the brush, and it's already not giving me great coverage and looking kind of dry. So I'm just going to move my hair out of the way. The true test of this is going to be my nose, because my nose is the area that foundation always looks awful on. So this can pass my nose test. I'll give it another chance. I'm getting maybe light coverage. The shade actually looks fine. It looks very neutral, where it's not too orange and not too pink, but not great coverage with the brush, and I am stippling it into my face, and it's looking really, really dry. Next, I'm going to go with my L'Oreal sponge right into the palette here. The Wet n Wild foundation always soaks up a lot of product, but I think the BB cream is kind of evening it out. And let's just start buffing that into my cheeks and see if I can build this up to a better, less dry coverage. I'm already not liking it. It's like the worst parts of each foundation are coming through in this. Now I'm just going to go in building up an area that I need more coverage, mainly this whole area right here. Alright, I don't always do this, but I'm going to take some of my MAC Fix Plus to try and hydrate some of the areas on my face that look a bit dry and see how it changes the finish. I hate the spray around this thing, it's so aggressive. I'm going to zoom you guys in so you can see up close what I'm talking about when I say that I really don't like the finish of this. As you can see up close, my nose looks super dry. You can see patches of where the foundation is not really sticking to it. Around my nose, it didn't clean very well. I'm going to have to use some concealer and clean up around that. My cheeks look okay. The main thing is that it's just emphasizing all my texture. When you look up close, it doesn't look like the coverage is very good. And it doesn't do that smoothing thing that the Wet n Wild Photofocus usually does. And it doesn't have that coverage that the BB cream usually has. So far, I don't think these two are mixing very well, which is super disappointing. I'm going to fix up my whole hair and face situation. I'm going to let you know what I think of this foundation after I apply the rest of my powders and makeup. After this iMovie transition. Ooh. And I'm back. Rest of the makeup is on. Everything I'm wearing will be linked in the description box below. I did my powders, my setting sprays, and now my foundation has been on for about an hour and I've had everything set. I still don't like it. Oh, this combination I thought was going to be fantastic. I thought they got similar ingredients, they've got different finishes. Together they're going to look fantastic. And really, it doesn't. At this point, this is not a combination I'm going to be doing again. This mutation was just like a horrible lab experiment gone wrong. It's dry, it's cakey, it's just not how I want my foundation to look. And on top of the fact that it's already oxidized a couple of shades and it looks really not so blurring on camera, it just is not what I want in a foundation. I don't think my opinion is going to change throughout the day, but I'm going to check in at about 5 hours in and then check in at the end of the day at my outro at about 10 hours in and let you guys know what I think. So I'll be back in a few hours for the first check-in. This is the first check-in. I'm at about 5.5 hours in. I forgot to say when I put on the foundation, but it is 5:23 now. And it's actually holding up a lot better than I thought it was going to. It actually really wasn't breaking down with my oil as much as the Photofocus usually does. So the BB cream really is coming through, but it is oxidized quite a bit. There's a huge demarcation line between my face and my neck, and it's just really not the right shade. It's oxidized too much. It's holding up okay, but it still looks really dry and hasn't gotten any better. So my opinion of it really hasn't changed in the last few hours. So I'm just gonna wait until the last check-in at the end of the night and I'll be right back. Alright guys, it is the end of the day. It is 9:37 p.m. I feel like it's 2 a.m. I was up really late last night with friends. I've been working all day long and I am so ready to get these lashes off my eyes and foundation off my face. I'm sorry, I sound like I've been chain smoking on the sidewalk all day long. I'm just so dead right now and these lights are burning my eyes. So I'm gonna get into this point of this video. These foundations are a dumpster fire of a combination. This was so bad. I haven't done this combination in weeks, so I had forgotten what it was like. I couldn't remember if I liked it or not. And so I was like, it couldn't have been that bad if I don't remember it, but it's really bad. I don't know what I was thinking the first time I tried this, that I wasn't like, never do this again. But it's really bad. It emphasizes texture, it doesn't control your oil, it doesn't make you look good in any way, it oxidizes. It's just a complete mess. I'm gonna zoom you in so you can see just how bad this is. It has been on for about 10 hours at this point, so keep that in mind. But regardless, my foundations that I love, which I'll share with you later in other videos, is they can last for 10, 12 hours and not look bad. And I won't need to blot, or only blot maybe once if I'm going crazy. But I was just sitting around the house today. I was working on my computer, I was with my baby, but I wasn't like going or doing anything crazy. So I should not be this slick and oily. As you can see, the light's reflecting off. I'm just like, meow. Like, it's just like, it's just like a flashlight all over my face, which is not what I want. So I'm gonna zoom you in so you can see all of this. So first off, you can see that my lashes are popping up in the inner corner, because this is just that time of day. Regardless, okay, so around my nose, it looks super dry. It is falling apart. It is super slick all over my whole face. It also transfers like crazy. Hard for you to see because this is kind of my skin tone, but it's just, it transfers like crazy. It is so dry all over this whole area. It creased on both sides of my mouth. It's just falling apart. As you can see, a little pimples popping through there. I don't think it broke me out. I just think that the coverage is really just disappearing at this point. Texture here, texture here. The sides of my nose are caking up, and it just feels foundation-y. I'm gonna zoom you guys back out. I'm literally never going to wear this combination again. This was a complete disaster. But much to the point, that's kind of what this is going to be. Now I know that these two are an absolute disaster of a combination. I wouldn't recommend this for oily skin. I wouldn't recommend it for dry skin, especially wouldn't recommend it for dry skin. Point being, this was a disaster, and hopefully the next combination that I do will be not a disaster. If you guys have any suggestions for what foundations you want me to combine, put them in the description box below. I have at least 12, and I can get more if you guys want to see what those combinations look like, and see if the ones that you have can see if the ones that you have can mix with the ones that I have. So I don't know if I'm even making sense anymore. I feel like my brain's about to explode and I can't like see with my eyeballs anymore. I have filmed this outro 5 times. Please, I just gotta get through it. Okay. I put up videos every Tuesday and Saturday. I have links to my blog, Instagram, Twitter, all in the description box below if you're interested, blah, 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 blah. If you didn't think I was a complete human disaster, give it a like. If you found me even mildly entertaining, subscribe to my channel with one of the buttons. You know where they are. And I hope you guys found this video helpful, and thanks for watching.